Hey y'all, this is Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it is not, welcome back. Do not forget to hit that like, comment below, and hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed to the channel. We are back with another review of Married at First Sight. I did not know we were going to get a break last week, but I was all here for it. It was the break I didn't know I needed from this show. Like, last week was so peaceful compared to this week. Granted, they came back with the episode this week, and it was very much so lackluster. Like, no offense, but y'all probably could have kept this episode on a cutting room floor. Like, we did not need to get this episode to move forward. Like, Married at First Sight goal sometime I feel like is just to have a ton of episodes, no matter what type of content is in the episode. Because we could have done completely without this episode. And it could have gone straight into what looks like a good episode for next week. But anyway, here we are, season 14. It is episode 12. So I'm going to run through this as fast as I can, y'all, because again, this episode was boring and a lot did not go on. But we going to be here to talk about it because, you know, we missed last week. So we got to catch up with the shenanigans of the show, y'all. So it is day 32 of marriage when the episode opens. So Katina comes over to Michael and Jasmina's place. So if y'all remember, the last episode that we saw was the whole dating app situation with Olajuwon yelling at her, Katina getting ready to walk out. They both just being pretty much over it. So Katina shows up to Jasmina and Michael's place. She starts to tell them about the argument. And Olajuwon, told her, let me see your phone, show me the app. So she says she clicks on the app and it goes right to the login page because, of course, she is not logged in. It's an old app. She has not been using it. So she tells them, how she felt disrespected because of how he approached her and the tone that he used. She says she is thinking if this is something that he would do again because she can't be with someone that operates like that. And I'm like, girl, well, get ready for it because he will indeed act up like that again. Michael asks what happened. And she told him that that Olajuwon felt like he needed to walk away. And she felt like it really didn't matter what she had to say because whatever she had to say, he was still going to be mad about it because he was already just mad in his head. So everything she was saying was an excuse at that point, even if it truly was the truth. Michael says, of course, emotions are high. We know Olajuwon is very emotional. So he thinks that, because Olajuwon didn't say he was completely done with the situation, that there's still a chance. And I'm like, again, why is the ball seemingly always in his court? That, he yelled and he got upset, but he didn't say he was done, right? So y'all are still good. No, but I would have said I was done. And that's what Katina should have done. But him and Jasmina, I feel like, are continuing to make excuses for his trash behavior. And I am not here for it at all. Katina starts to cry again because her feelings are hurt. And I really hate that she continues to cry over this dude because, again, y'all have heard me say it time and time again. He is not even a catch like that, girl. Stop it. She feels that they've had these conversations really about him not, talking at her, and he just continues to do it. And again, Katina, he will continue to do it. So if you don't want to put up with it, you have to leave. But if you decided to stay with him, I'm going to need you to stop complaining about it. Because it's him. It is who he is. So we then see Michael go see Olajuwon. He says he's still in his feelings. He don't even want to bring up the conversation. And he wants her to take full responsibility because basically what she's saying is just an excuse. He thinks because, he basically cut his hair. He felt like he's done a lot, that she should just be praising the ground that he walks on, I guess. Michael asks if he doesn't believe that she forgot the app was on there. And Olajuwon is basically like, Katina's a smart girl. She's very intelligent. And he doesn't believe it because he knows it's very easy to log on and log off of those apps because he's done it. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You are treating her with the same theory that she is the trash person that you would be to log on and off of apps to do sneaky stuff behind your partner's back. Just because that's something that you and Isaac would do does not mean that's something that Katina would do. And that is the bottom line as to why you are so upset, because you know how you would have done if the shoe was on the other foot. You would not have been innocent and you would not truly have just had the app on your phone, which is why we know why you've deleted Instagram, because we know you probably can't control yourself. If you get DMs from other women, you probably will act on it. So Olajuwon, quit trying to act like you are being the best husband, the bigger man, and just like you're doing all these great things for her. No, you are doing all this for yourself so that you don't get caught up. Okay? Cut it out. Olajuwon basically says that he is hurt because I guess he's starting to develop real feelings for her, and he hasn't moved this fast with anyone ever. You know, it's only been 30 days, but he's keeping his eyes open because he has to believe actions. Noi then shows up. We then see Noi and Steve. Noi shows up and shows us that Steve and Sushi are busy snoozing away in the bed in the middle of the day while she works. Lindsey is showing us, that the cat has taken her spot in the bed with Mark. And Michael is trying Mr. Feeney's treats. And I'm like, this is disgusting. At this point, I feel like you'll do anything to make Jasmina happy. Back over to Lindsey and Mark. Mark is using a little whiteboard to write some things out for the week. Cooking, cleaning, gym, meal prep, feeding the cats, whatever. He says that he feels like them having some type of structure will help them feel some type of balance. And of course, just as he says that, Lindsey kind of just comes into the door as a wrecking ball with a litter box and all type of other junk in her hand. So she says she likes the whiteboard idea, but of course she has to have some control and starts talking about the whole meal prep. He wants to meal prep lunch. She wants to meal prep dinner. Y'all, it's an argument that really does not need to happen. They talk about date night and what they're going to do that weekend. Lindsey basically has the nerve to say that Mark is a stubborn only child and only wants things his way. Lindsey, do you hear yourself, ma'am? Because what you just said describes you perfectly, okay? We're now 22 days until decision day. So Steve and Noi go to a little doggy day spa and give Sushi a bath. And she thinks this is going to make, Steve appear more responsible because, it's a lot of work to take care of a pet. And she wants 3 kids. So she gets to kind of get a glimpse of how Steve would be as a dad. Steve is mature enough to be a dad. He just needs steady income, Noi. That's it. But speaking of such, I do watch other reviews. After I've done my own review, I watch other reviews of this show. And sometimes it kills me how much slack I see that Steve is getting in these YouTube comment review streets. Like, I don't want to say it's because of his ethnicity, but it's just mind-boggling to me how everybody believes, I guess because of Steve's background, his education, I don't know, really believes that he is financially well off, but yet Gil last season actually had a job, but he got called, broke because he was only a fireman, but he actually had a job, but Steve gets a lot of slack and he doesn't actually have a job. So I'm constantly confused as to what's going on because Steve hasn't shown us any Carfax receipts as to, what his savings is looking like, what his stock portfolio is looking like, what maybe a 401k is looking. He hasn't shown us any receipts for us to, have so much faith that he's just rolling in the dough. I just don't get it. If y'all get it, let me know in the comments below, okay? Steve says, he had dogs growing up, but because he's been traveling recently, he really didn't want to have his own pet. She says it means so much for Sushi and Steve to get along because Sushi's been in her life more than any other man. And I'm like, well, remember, Noi, you have been all around the world, whereas Carmen San Diego, trying to find a man. So, yeah, of course, Sushi's been the longest standing man in your life. Lindsey and Mark go to the grocery store and she is legit acting like his mama. Like she is walking in front of the cart, pointing out everything. And he is like the son who is just pushing the cart, trying not to run over his mama's ankles in the front of him. Okay. He says that they have a budget to go grocery shopping, of course, because he isn't working and she is picking up everything in sight. And Mark is like, no, 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 no. And no, while Lindsey just continues to put everything in the buggy as if she's just like, throw it in the bag. I'm just not understanding why she can't stick to the budget that they have created. And Mark is having the same issue as, we created a budget. I'm going to need you to stick to it. And she's like, I'm afraid I now have a chicken finger man. I used to make fun of my friends for having chicken finger men. A men that just wants chicken fingers. And here I am with a chicken finger man, because basically Mark's palate is not refined enough or as refined as hers. The man likes what he likes. Leave him alone. Michael and Jasmina sit down for dinner. She tells him, that her job is changing locations. And he's like, well, why don't you try driving yourself instead of riding the train going forward? And of course, we get reminded that she does not drive. She does not have a license. So he makes a little game out of it and, has some flashcards and give her some permit test questions. And she actually does really well. She just says she's nervous about driving and she's been in a few accidents before. So she's a little bit scared to get behind the wheel. We then see Olajuwon and Katina. They say they've had some time away from each other and they've had conversations and they really understood where each other was coming from. She said she apologized to him, but she will apologize to him again on camera. Why she feels the need to do this, child, I don't know. And he says he has to learn how to control his emotions better. And I'm like, you have said this before. So we've heard it all before. Like Sunshine Anderson said, we've heard it all before. Do something different or get out of our face with this, okay? They say they appreciate each other, they kiss, and I'm completely over it. Steve goes down to the beach, throw around a football with Mark. They're catching up on how things are going. Steve says this week things are going good. Mark says there's been a lot of talk about the future, and he asks, and Steve asks if Lindsey is kind of being supportive of the whole work situation. Steve says, something as important as making a living, is just, it's real important. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, isn't this not the same argument that Noi is basically having with you on a regular basis? But anyway, he tells Mark that he has a lot in savings and he's contributing 3 to 4 times more. And I'm like, but Steve, are we replacing the savings? The savings is there for when you need the savings because you really are in a tough time where maybe you can't find a job or some expense has happened. It's not just meant for you to live off of without necessarily replenishing some form of that savings back into the account. So that's especially not a chore age. That's not how the savings account should actually work. Well, that ain't how my savings account worked. Let me just say that. But Steve says, he needs time now not to work, to dream of the future. And if he gets a job, it could kind of stifle their future. He says he just needs to know the plan. So if he gets a regular job, he needs to know the plan. Are they going on vacation? Are they buying a house? What are we doing? And I'm like, besides having income, you need another reason as to why you're needing to get a job? Girl, my goodness. Michael and Jasmina then head out so Michael can teach her how to drive. Mr. Feeney's in the back of his little car seat, don't know what the heck is happening. So Michael drives into a little empty parking lot, sets up some cones. She starts to drive. He is nervous. And, it is what it is with them. She says she doesn't know if they're more affectionate towards each other, but they are enjoying being around each other more. And if it stays this way, the affection will come. And Jasmina just keeps saying this, but there still is no affection that has come yet. So I guess we just continue to wait. So now we are 20 days until decision day. So Steve and Noi get back home with sushi. And then for some reason, Noi just wants Steve to do everything with sushi, put his clothes on, pick up his poop, give him a treat. And Steve is like, this ain't necessarily my dog, but it is what it is. I ain't asked for this. He then cooks breakfast and they start to talk about the chores that need to be done. And Steve is like, we need to share. And I was like, well, a couple episodes ago, didn't he say, do you still want, me to cook and clean? Because if I get a job, I can't cook and clean. But now he's saying that y'all need to share the chores. Make this make sense, y'all. She then says, I don't want to clean the bathroom. And Steve's like, well, if you don't want to clean the bathroom, that means you take over sushi duties. And she's like, no. He says, okay, well, that means we still go half on everything as far as chores and sushi. So it's been nice doing business with you. And she is like, no, you can kiss my ass. And Steve is like, we're being a little feisty on Saturday morning. And I'm like, y'all just keep going around in circles, but whatever, it ain't my business. Olajuwon then meets with his former coach and tells him about the dating app situation and tells him, that he got upset. This man just continues to look goofy in every scene I see him in. He says that the coach will tell him really what he needs to hear, not what he wants to hear. And he's like, I was talking, and I'm real passionate. I was just talking with passion. No, you were not talking with passion. You were yelling at this lady like she was your child. You were yelling at her, not speaking with passion. Okay? So I want you in this receding hairline to get out of my face. His coach does tell him that some things that are said cannot be unsaid. So you really have to watch how you let out your anger. And I was like, well, I hope you have given him this speech again after watching these episodes of him acting a fool. He tells him that, nothing should really break their bond. And if it is real and they just can keep moving in the right direction because, Olajuwon, he just means well. And I'm just like, this man is trash. But okay. Michael then meets with one of his sisters and they catch up on how things have been going since the housewarming. And then we kind of see Jasmina in tandem on FaceTime with her mom. He tells his sister that, this is the sister he generally goes to advice because he really wants her feedback prior to decision day. Jasmina, on the other hand, is telling her mom that things are going good. There's really been no tension now. So her mom is excited about that. Her mom asks about the pros and cons of being married. Jasmina says that they've been doing better with communication. And Michael says to his sister that mentally they're finally on the same page because they were basically doing the exact same things to each other. And I've said that in plenty of my reviews. Y'all are acting the same way, but yet Jasmina continued to complain about it. He tells his sister that they're enjoying their time together. They even played a little board game the night before, and she's telling her mom the same thing. Jasmina tells her mom that it's been a month and she still doesn't have feelings for him. And Michael says that this is the least physical he's been with a woman. And his sister just encourages him just to try little things with her. Jasmina tells her mom that her heart is open, but she is worried that if there is no romance by decision day, she will ultimately say no. And Michael says he wants to feel like the effort he is giving, which the effort he feels he's given is 110%. He wants to feel that is reciprocated. And right now he doesn't feel that, and he feels he is opening up to her. He says if things continue to stay stagnant and they are not on the up and up, it's going to be hard to say yes on decision day as well. So back over to Lindsey and Mark. They are on the outs yet again. This is every episode for them because obviously what we can tell from the footage and the closed caption, he put some clothes in the dryer that I believe shouldn't have gone in the dryer. So maybe they were ruined. But, she tells us that everything he's put on this whiteboard, he does not follow through with. She is furious with him and she just cannot trust him. Y'all know how Lindsey go from 0 to 100 real quick, okay? She says that, he gives the cat Chloe more attention than her and she isn't sure what they are doing because this isn't a man for her. They just get hot and cold every episode and I'm just not here for it. I think Lindsey seems to exhibit if you see him exhibit the same behavior over and over again and you're sick of it, again, like Katina, deal with it and shut up or leave. Like, I'm over the conversations and going over these same things over and over again when your mouth is saying, I don't believe you, I don't trust you, I don't want to be with you, this is no man. Well, leave. Leave us all out of this and leave. We then see Katina out with one of her friends and she gives her an update on how things have been going because she wasn't able to attend the wedding. And the friend asks for a picture of Olajuwon with his shirt off. And I'm like, was that not a little bit weird? And she shows it and she's like, he may have a nice body, but his attitude sucks, okay? Sucks. She tells her friend they haven't had sex, but they are very affectionate. She has to tell this story about the whole dating app yet again, and she has had to go in protection mode for herself. She says she has to learn to go into these situations calm. And I'm just like, Katina, it has been you that has been calm most of the time. He has been blowing up. So I just don't understand why she continues to take so much ownership of their disagreements when it's like he is the main culprit that blows up and has an attitude. Like, I'm just not understanding. Back over to Steve and Noi. They're talking about life after decision day, and she says she doesn't want to move in together after decision day and thinks they can live separately for a few months. And Steve is like, what is happening and where is this coming from? What you mean we married? What you mean living separately? And Noi is like, married people do it all the time and live separately. I'm like, there are some, but most married people don't, Noi. So good try, but no. She says she just isn't comfortable with them combining their lives completely. And I'm like, you just don't want to combine finances because you don't feel comfortable with him. Because he continues to ask her why she isn't comfortable. And she just says she isn't, but she cannot give him a real reason. And I'm like, you need to speak up. Like this, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. I just think we should wait and it's okay. And we can have our own. Speak up and tell this man why you don't want to move in with him. Oh my God. Mark then goes out to lunch with one of his friends and gives her an update about he and Lindsey. And he says, when they have good times, it's really good and organic. But when things are bad, they just don't go into the same arguments that they've had from week one. He said he spent the first few weeks just trying to get adjusted to her. So it's been tough because their communication just hasn't been good. His friends say they both basically just need to both give a little, and that they can't just shut down because decision day is only 3 weeks away. He says he doesn't miss her when he is necessarily away from her, but he isn't at the point where he feel like he can't live without her. So I don't think they're gonna make it. Noi then meets with her brother, or better yet, Sriracha. She tells him, about the good times with Steve and, how he's really sweet, he's thoughtful, he's playful. And he is shocked when she tells him that Steve has said, I love you. And I'm like, but yeah, your sister was on this honeymoon talking about she feel like she's starting to fall in love already within just a few days. So keep that same energy, Sriracha. She talks about him complaining about her not helping out, and, she's not feeling it because she works, and Sriracha is definitely giving all the Sriracha because she's like, he don't have no job, so basically he shouldn't have nothing to say. Noi says Steve is wanting for her to come up with a plan basically for him, and she says she don't care what kind of job he gets, he just needs to get a job. And I'm like, what is the whole secret about this situation of Steve and his finances? Like, I think it's a different situation to not tell necessarily the cameras and us as the viewers, but it's like he hasn't even told Noi either. So it's like, what top secret agent are you working for, or what type of secret stash do you have that you just can't at least tell this Noi about it just to give her some sort of comfort? But she says she needs him to step up and really show what a game plan is going to be for the two of them prior to decision day. Steve then faces his sister-in-law. They catch up on how things are going. He tells her about, how she wanted to stay in the separate apartments after decision day. And then Noi basically posts another cryptic IG message that says, something like, the moment you think you deserve better, that's when you do. And he asked her if it was about him, and she said no. But it's like, can you really believe Noi? Because Noi does a lot of deflection and she does not confront things head on. So it's always going to be a case of trying to read between the lines with her. Michael and Jasmina cook dinner together. He's cooking dinner basically for them for the very first time. Like, I still don't think these two will last, but it's been nice these past couple episodes to actually see them get along for once. Jasmina once again says that things are going well, and if it continues, they will continue to build an emotional connection. You're not attracted to him. You're not going to build an emotional connection, sweetie. Michael tells her that he could have done more in the beginning and he wants to do more going forward, really to make it clear that he wants to make it work. And she says she's really relieved that he's starting to open up more. And I'm like, but Jasmina, you have not reciprocated any of this. You just want him to give, and you are not giving him anything, okay? 18 days until decision day, and Katina is cooking Taco Tuesday for her and Olajuwon. Honestly, y'all, they start talking, I believe, about some childhood stuff. I checked out, and I don't even know. So if it was something important, drop it down in the comments below. Next, we didn't see Lindsey and Mark, and I'm like, well, I guess they've made up now and they're getting along once again as they do every episode. But she's dressing up the cats in shark costumes to have a photo shoot as a shark family because she says, they really have the most fun when they're pretty much just being silly. So they're eating dinner, and once again, Lindsey is trying to get Mark to taste some. She's like, go ahead and taste it. And he's like, no, try it. I think you'll like it. No, just get a little bit. No, just put a little dab on your finger. No, and he's like, no, I don't want to taste it. And she just keeps pushing. And I'm like, can you please just let it go, Lindsey? He said, no, leave it alone. And I'm a little bit of a picky eater as well. And that would drive me crazy for someone to want me to constantly taste their food when I've said, no, I don't want to taste it. So he is trying to talk to her and tells her, that the process hasn't been easy. They've had great times and they've had very difficult times. So it's taken him a while to know kind of which direction to go and trying to decide if things will ever smooth out. And Lindsey says, he is not looking at where he can do better and make changes, and that he is basically taking no accountability. So she doesn't even allow him to finish speaking before she has to kind of jump in there and start to give her 2 cents. She says that, she has told him when he is crossing boundaries, and it seems that they both think they're taking accountability for their own actions, but Lindsey definitely doesn't see Mark taking any sort of accountability, but also she doesn't necessarily give him a lot of space and opportunity to talk and share how he feels, because the minute he does share, if it does not align with her thoughts, she gets loud and then starts walking off and starts calling him names and just get real. Like, it's a toxic environment if we're being completely transparent, y'all. But as he's trying to still talk, she kind of grabs his hand, I guess, to kind of get him to kind of focus back in on what she's saying. And he's like, don't grab my hand. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. She's like, nope, don't want to do this no more. It's like I'm talking to a brick wall. He just continues to shut down. And I'm like, girl, he didn't really shut down. You just keep your hands to yourself and stay focused and calm and just let's have a rational conversation. Like, that's all it is, Lindsey. But it's just that she just can't really allow this man to get his feelings out. And again, because he doesn't react in a way that she would react, she just thinks it's always wrong and then just walks away when things don't pan out how she wants them to. The episode ends with the photographer actually coming in, and now it's super awkward. So Mark is just like, oh, it's just me and the cat. So she started snapping some pictures. And then Lindsey walks back in and says, she isn't really feeling it, so she can just do the pictures with him. Then she comes back out and she just wants to know, if he wants her here, and she starts to pack a bag and is telling him, that she just doesn't feel like he gives a ish anymore. She just can't take it anymore. And I'm just like, the circus continues. He says that, the discussion does not feel like a two-way street. And she says it hasn't been a two-way street. It's basically just been, you just don't do anything. And I'm like, Lindsey, this man is entitled to feel how he feels. Like, she is crazy. But I just don't get it, because I'm not necessarily saying that Mark is always right. But also everybody, until things are facts, everybody has an opinion and everybody has a right to feel the way they feel, regardless if you agree or not. It just is what it is with us, okay? So now she doesn't see the point of the whole photo shoot. He's asked her to stay, and she's like, I don't want to stay unless you want me to stay. And I'm like, girl, he just said he wanted you to stay. So she ends up staying. She goes to change clothes. They start taking these hideous pictures with them and the cats. They start taking some pictures with just her and him. And y'all, the episode goes off. And while I just continue to cringe because these damn cats just be climbing up everywhere on their house. And it is just disgusting. But that was the end of this very, very boring episode. I hope this review has kept you entertained more than the actual episode did. So next week, it looks like Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal is back in this thing. And I hope next week is good. And I'm super excited. And I hope Dr. Pepper gets in some asses next week, specifically Olajuwon. Okay? So please deliver Married at First Sight, because this episode wasn't it, honey. If y'all have anything else more interesting to talk about, drop it down in the comments below and we will chat. Peace.